Fiji's constitution upholds the fact that children with disabilities have the same fundamental rights, freedoms, and responsibilities as their peers, which includes the right to education from kindergarten all the way through school and beyond to tertiary or vocational training. Some students require special support to enable them to achieve their potential to become contributing members of society. Some students simply need teachers to take their different learning styles into account. When teachers use inclusive teaching practices, evidence shows that this benefits the whole classroom, not only children with disabilities. The Ministry of Education has a policy on special and inclusive education, which aims to ensure access to quality education for children with disabilities in all schools throughout Fiji. To achieve this aim, schools are required to implement a new system to find out which children have difficulties functioning and to document this information on the Fiji Education Management Information System, which is called FEMIS. There are two forms that schools must use to collect data. One is called the Student Learning Profile Form, which gathers information on individual children who have functional difficulties. The second form is the School Accessibility and Inclusion Form, which collects information on issues such as accessibility of school buildings and inclusive practices and materials. The Student Learning Profile Form should be used to assess all children who have any degree of difficulty functioning across a wide range of areas, including seeing, hearing, learning, speaking, moving, behavior, and socialization and emotions. It should also be used with students who consistently perform very poorly in assessments and class activities.
Can we come together and
The best way of collecting information for the student learning profile is for the teacher to have a discussion and complete the form together with the student's parents or guardian. Sometimes it is useful for other people who know the child well to join the discussion too, such as the student's previous teacher or teacher aide, or perhaps the kindergarten teacher if the child is coming into class 1. If the school has a disability focal point or inclusion coordinator, this person should be at the meeting too. It is important that during the meeting, the teacher, parent, and others discuss the questions and come to a relaxed and mutual consensus, enabling the fullest potential for learning outcomes. Note here how the teacher has made the father feel very comfortable to express his opinions.
art and craft?
Yeah, she's very good with art.
Even at home too, whenever she's got spare time, she's always busy drawing something or cutting papers and I don't know, all sorts of things with cardboards and things like that.
So she has an artistic mind.
She really does.
Yes.
There is a section on the student learning profile which requires information on whether the student uses assistive devices. This refers to aids and equipment that support the body's function.
My mother's name is Maggie Tabula. My father's is William Asalado.
If the student does not use any assistive devices, the last option on the form should be ticked, no assistive device used. When selecting the levels of difficulty in question 3, teachers can refer to a table in the handbook which provides detailed descriptors for each level. The section on strengths, interests, and capabilities is an important opportunity to think about the student from different perspectives. Focusing on student capabilities and interests allows teachers to maximize those strengths during learning activities and may inform thinking about the student's future after graduation.
Oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to work in the hospital.
In cases where it is impossible to meet with the parent or guardian, it is acceptable for teachers to complete the student learning profile form independently.
Okay, this is a very important section as well of this questionnaire that refers to that we will need to fill if you have any medical diagnosis. So does Yash have any medical diagnosis?
Yeah, from Shriners.
Okay, from the Shriners. Do you have it with you?
Yeah.
Okay, if I can have a look at it.
Some children with functional difficulties will already have a diagnosis from a health service. The last page of the student learning profile collects this information in a section called Clinical Diagnostic and Treatment Information. Diagnosis and services already received should be recorded here. In addition, many children will benefit from referrals to services. For example, hearing assessment and provision of hearing aids, or vision assessment and provision of glasses. Any services that are required should be recorded in this section.
We have
The toolkit for disability inclusive education is of enormous value in providing information for teachers to improve the way they make their classrooms more inclusive for children with disabilities. Teachers are strongly encouraged to refer to the relevant chapters in the handbook once students with functional difficulties have been identified. The fact sheets in the toolkit may be useful to copy and provide to parents. After data is entered into FEMIS, the paper version of the student learning profile form should be kept in the student's file. The student learning profile form and consent form can be downloaded and printed from FEMIS. Schools are also required to collect data on accessibility of the school environment and inclusive practices and materials. This information helps the school and the Ministry of Education to plan and budget for infrastructure works, training for staff, and provision of materials, as well as to monitor the outcomes of accessible schools.
Number of stories that are accessible to students with physical
The
disabilities.
school accessibility and inclusion form should be completed by the school management committee with the head teacher, and where possible with the involvement of students with disabilities and their parents. Participation by the local disabled persons organization may be helpful to conduct the school accessibility assessment. It is very enlightening to move throughout the school environment together with people who use wheelchairs or have severe vision impairment or blindness. These access audits are conducted in many places around the world in partnership with organizations of disabled persons. For contact details of your nearest group, look up Fiji Disabled Persons Federation on Facebook and give them a call. By matching student data from the student learning profile with data on human and material resources, the Ministry of Education is able to estimate the requirements for resources such as sign language interpreters, braille machines, and teacher aids. At any time, schools can print off a list of children with disabilities so staff can discuss progress or additional learning supports that might be needed. The Ministry of Education uses the data from FEMIS to undertake national level monitoring, planning, budgeting, and reporting.